Mars in the third house of the birth chart. Hi guys, this is Lada from astrolada.com, and that's the third video from my series on Mars in houses. And this video is for you if you happen to have your Mars in the third house from the ascendant. And you can also check out if Mars is in the third house, possibly from your moon's sign as well, because this can, or the sun sign, but usually the most clear one is from the ascendant, because the ascendant is the physical body. And you can find out if you have your Mars in the third house, or which house you have your Mars in your horoscope, by going to my birth chart calculator. But you need to have your time of birth at least within 5-10 minutes correctly. Enter your details, your place of birth, your time of birth according to your birth certificate, and go to the go to the table, not to the table, but go to the one of the charts. They're both the same. One is in Vedic style, another one is in Western style. And check if you see Mars, MA, with the number 3, which means the third house cusp. But also read from the ascendant and check if you see Mars in the third sign from the ascendant. The ascendant is where the number 1 is. And just basically, if you have ascendant in Gemini, for example, and Mars happens to be in Leo, it will be in the third sign from your ascendant. Or if you have ascendant in Capricorn, Mars will be in and Mars is in Pisces, it will be in the third sign from Pisces. So it's third house. If you have ascendant in Pisces, Mars being in Taurus will be in the third sign from your ascendant. So it works whole sign astrology. Use whole sign and an equal house cusp. And sometimes, just like me, you can have Mars with the second house cusp, but in the third sign from the ascendant. So I will check the video both for Mars, in the second, with the second house cusp, so in the second house, and Mars in the third house from the ascendant. These two house systems work both very powerfully. So I personally have Mars in the third house in the horoscope, so you can see Mars in the third house in action, in the third sign from the ascendant. So what is Mars and what is the third house? First of all, Mars energizes any area of the horoscope that it falls on, of our life basically. And the third house is connected to our speech. It's connected to our communication style basically, how we interact with others. And Mars can really energize that area of one's life, can make you have a super busy life with connections, with contacts, with communicating with others, even if you're not a very social person like I'm not. But basically I get to read through 400 or 500 emails a day. I get to write at least 100 emails a day. Third house is writing, speaking, verbal communications, and Mars puts lots of energy, and you need to put lots of energy there as well. And energizes that area of your life. So people with Mars in the third house will have busy interactions with others, whether they want it or no. Others find them, lots of emails, for example, lots of reports, lots of writing, lots of speaking to do. How they communicate will have speed. When they speak, they can speak faster and they can speak louder, because Mars gives energy. Mars gives like a boom. It's a macho planet. It's in your face planet, so it will energize your speaking style, but also make you sound very enthusiastic and excited about what you're speaking about. You hear my voice, and actually they're great promoters, because when they speak excitedly about something, which is Mars gives this excitement, enthusiasm, so you can be a great salesperson, and you can be great at promoting others or business ideas or something that you're excited about. And actually I've noticed it when I have an interview with someone, I get so excited about their skills, another astrologer or some product, that people just get contagious and they want to go and buy this thing. So such people can be good salespeople. That's a very good position for salespeople, for a promoter, for an advertiser, because you put passion and energy into that. For communicator as well. And as I said, the voice can be loud, sometimes raspy, because Mars can be a little bit, it's not exactly the voice, the third house, it's how you communicate your message through others. So it's in an excited, in a passionate way, in a very assertive way. When you say something, it can sound like you can never make a mistake, And I also have people said that when I do their horoscopes and I speak it, they say, oh my God, it's like you say it with so much conviction and assertiveness. To be honest, within I have doubts, because the planet of belief is in my horoscope is with Saturn, which is highly decreased. But Because Mars is in the third house of communication. I communicate whatever information I have in a very assertive way that can make others believe and get excited about it. And I can give you an example. Miley Cyrus have Mars in the third house, so she speaks loudly. She's a fast speaker. She, such people can speak fast, be loud, and be kind of, with their gestures, they can move their hands a lot, and they can be a bit anti-restless, because third house rules movement, and Mars rules energy, and the third house rules the hands, and any kind of movement. So Mars in the third house might be the ones that jump with their feet, kind of nervous tension, or that are making a lot of hands gestures, for example, or that are making a lot of excitable movements when they're talking, kind of like the Italians, and when people say, well, stop fidgeting in front of camera, say this to someone with Mars in the third house: I have to sit on my hands, not to fidget or not to move them. Third house ruling the hands and everything. And possibly if you pay attention to other people, maybe after especially the 30th year, the 28th year, you can have a bit more control over Mars. But usually there is kind of expressiveness and energy coming through the hands, through the movement, through the gestures. And their style of talking is excitable, can be good at sales, can be good at any kind of promotion, or even, what's that called, like proactive advertising. And even they can be self-promoting in a sense, or proactively advertising, or promoting new ideas vigorously, because Mars is, it's driven and it's vigorous, and third house is ideas, so business products or brands. Guess who has Mars in the third house? Richard Branson. This businessman, it's an English businessman who created Virgin Atlantic and the whole Virgin brand. Well, he's even in his own commercials. He's even part of the commercials. He actively promotes his business and the ideas vigorously. He's super involved with all those business commercials, and he's a great salesperson as well. And he's an epitome of person with Mars in the third house. And it also, Mars, third house, rules travel of any sorts, whether it's flying, whether it's with a boat, whether it's with a plane, whatever it is, it's any kind of travel, transportations, and Mars then makes this transportation fast and hectic. So Richard Branson created airlines, the fastest transportation possible. And Mars is a very progressive planet. It's about the new rather than the old. Mars wants to move forward, to break through barriers, to break through old kind of ways of doing things. And in the third house, you can be a very innovative communicator, very innovative in businesses of travel, businesses of commercial businesses of any sort. So Richard Branson, he has not only traveling, very proactive, very kind of innovative, breaks through barriers, fast moving businesses and industry and transportation systems, the third house. But also Mark Zuckerberg has Mars in the third house. So third house is any communication and information system. What is it saying? Mark Zuckerberg innovated and made a big breakthrough in the communication, social media. Social media is also the third house. Any means of connecting information, sharing information, connecting people together is the third house. He created Facebook, Facebook, and he is very kind of, Facebook is also a media for advertising, which is again third house. It's a media of promoting your own ideas, so self-promoting yourself and your image. It's like epitome. Richard Branson, Mark Zuckerberg, they epitomize this kind of very go-getting attitudes in regards to travel, in regards to commercial activities. Third house is all commercial activities, business activities, promotion, advertising, branding, media, marketing, management, and information industries, media. Mark Zuckerberg is in that. And let's see who, we have third house also rules the hand, so people with Mars, they can have very fast reactions. And we have Rafael Nadal, very fast hands. He is one of the world top tennis championship at the current moment, 2016 of shooting that video. So very fast hands reaction, very fast. Unless Mars is afflicted, sometimes Mars can have an opposition by Saturn or kind of difficult aspect by another planet, so it will create more problems and afflictions with the reactions of the hands. But usually, if it's not, fast reactions of the hands. Okay, So let's repeat, Mars in the third house is really can make one very successful in commercial endeavors, because third house is the house of business, organizing, management, advertising, publicizing, promoting. So Mars there gives you the drive. You can have really high positions, even leadership positions in such careers if you happen to have Mars in the third house. And even I, who am very naturally shy person, and for years I thought like I could not promote anything or be self-promoting or successful in commercial ideas. At a certain period in my life, after my 30s, this Mars unlocked, and I'm surprised constantly at those skills that I discovered within myself, you know. So they have such people like killer instincts in regards to commercial endeavors, like as I showed you those two business people. It can be great for journalists, because journalists have to, third house is short messages, information, and Mars like fast, you know, so every day short messages, short reports, information, delivering fast information to others. So that's why it's very good position for journalists. Any kind of people that report information on a daily basis, or people that are traveling frequently. And third house is travel that is under 1 month. So short travel within 1 month. You might go to the other end of the world, but it's still third house, because you don't go to a foreign country to live for 4 or 5 months. That's the 9th house. But travels, basically holidays and travels or business trips under 1 month at the third house. So with Mars there, this will increase the such kind of, they'll create a lot of hectic travel, a lot of travel in one's life. If you see, almost every month I shoot from somewhere else. It might be even from another town, but I'm constantly traveling somewhere. Mars energizes this area of travel, and you can even be in business or career that makes you travel a lot for business. Maybe like a traveling project manager, for example. I've seen horoscopes with that combination, or traveling administrators. But also it's great for people in media, for people in marketing, in advertising and promoting. I said that because Mars is driven, and Mars is, you put lots of energy there. And any kind of short travel can enliven people with Mars in the third house. So once they start getting bored, restless, they just go on a short trip, and that brings excitement, enlivens them. If you feel your life is a bit dull and stuck, Mars is the planet to turn towards, and Mars in your third house, either go learn some new skill, which is the third house, which can really excite you. Like I get super excitable every time there is a new astrology technique or a new astrology course, which is all third house, learning new skills, acquiring new information. This is what makes me feel excited and happy. Otherwise I get so bored if I don't have stimulation in the mind of getting new information, because Mars is restless. You can get restless. You need, or I can have like 2 Facebook pages open on my on my laptop at the same time, reading 2 articles. Kind of lots of activities with the mind, with reading, with information, but also short travel. It's kind of you know, today I'll go to this beach, and a bit later I'll go to another beach. Short travel, movement, this is what energizes me. Or for example, I love if I go to a bar, not to get stuck the whole night in that bar, but to know that I have 4 or 5 bars to change after that. You know, like moving from place to place. This Mars really energizes. So if you're feeling a bit dull and down, Mars in the third house, go on a trip. This will invigorate you. Or you can do, if you want to awaken more passion, excitement in you, short trips can do that for you. Or learning something new. Okay. And as I said, it can be often traveling for business, for commercial, administrative trips, for example. Or a person with this position can have very busy commercial activity. And commercial activity is administration, writing reports, dealing with clients, checking emails, answering emails, you know, correspondence between clients, doing some short deals, moving, developing and branding and developing products, managing some business. You know, this is all third house. Third house is so important. It's all undervalued in most astrology circles. It's like, oh, it's communication, siblings and brothers. No, it's your business activity, commercial activities, anything that, you know, that requires information and handling of business and information of any sort. And people there with Mars, they just go and sort problems there and get into the thick of it and confront those issues. Mars is really good in the third house, third sign from ascendant as well, in particular because this is a house that improves with age. So usually at younger age they might have some hiccups there because Mars is a malefic, but the older they get, the better it improves, this kind of activities, third house activities as well. It's also Mars rules sports, and third house rules small groups of people, teammates, playmates, so they can be energized, and it can be good for group sports. I don't know, maybe like dodgeball or something like that. But if one works in any group position, say if you're with a team of people in your business, and the Mars in the third house person needs to take a dominant leading position in that group with others. Say you're cooperating on some business project, you're working with 3 or 4 of your colleagues. Well, Mars in the third house is not going to cooperate so well unless their dominant ideas, they're the leading, unless their lead is being followed. Like, for example, I partner with lots of people and cooperate, but I need to be the leader. And it has to go according to my plan. And I don't do it in a horrible way, but it's otherwise, Mars is not the most cooperative in small group activities unless it is the leading. But it can be very driven in small activities or any marketing jobs. For example, someone who is a manager. With Mars in the third house can be a very driven manager, wants to get lots of things done in regards to the business, to get big workloads very quickly, to get them down. And this can frustrate the other colleagues in the environment because they have their own speed. And Mars in third house people, they have a much faster speed, especially with mental tasks and business commercial activities. So they kind of push, and they have no patience for unmotivated co-workers or partner, unmotivated group activities of any sort. So they kind of, if they're a manager, unmotivated people that work for them or with them, they'll be like, I have no patience, I can't deal with you, So they're not the best managers when you come on the interpersonal level with others. They just are driven, fast, that they even have a bit impatience of dealing with such details, and they can be very fast through details of marketing, of managing, very progressive, very in your face, but at the same time impatient a little bit. So maybe they need someone who can pick up those details and make sure that whatever they've missed is kind of accounted for. Okay, and in their writing and speech and communication style, I'll be very direct. For example, when I write emails, I often forget to say thank you very much, kind regards, or hi, how are you, thank you so much for following, I just go yes, no, and answer the questions, and people might think I'm rude. But it's just this impatience of Mars in communications when it comes to, and especially when it comes to social niceties, like, oh, thank you so much. I try to do it. I also have Venus in the second house, but if it was up to me, my Mars is much stronger, in the third house. My Mars is much stronger being in Aries. I would just say to everyone, yes, no, this is the course. This is, when I answer emails or communications with clients or with business transactions or whatever, I can be just like bam, bam, bam. So they might have a little bit of impatience when it comes to those kind of communications, but they can get a lot of them done very quickly. And when it comes about speaking, they don't like to beat about the bush. They'll just come and say, this is what bothers me. They'll get into the thick of it, or this is what the issue is. Let's talk about it. Let's deal with it. Let's not go into lyrical kind of niceties and, social niceties of any sort. Let's get to the point. And they also, in their writing, they can be very direct, dynamic writing. They can be very prolific. At Mars gives speed of writing, lots, it's not so much as expanding as Jupiter, but Mars can write very fast as well. Like J.R. Tolkien wrote so many books. He wrote so much, such big, and he wrote about what? Dynamic adventures. Third house is what you write about, what you think about, and Mars is adventure and epic kind of quest and epic hero. Good against bad, like some kind of a battle that he wrote about. And dynamic writers, so journalist is good, who can quickly write reports, quickly write information of any source. Might be impatient with small talk. For example, many friends would occasionally contact me and say, hi, how are you, how are things? And I just don't answer, or because I don't have time, or because I'm like, yeah, if there's something for us to say and speak about, yeah, I would answer. but it's kind of, I cannot carry on for 2 or 3 hours just chit-chatting, gossiping about stuff. Mars in the third house just wants to get to the point. It's impatient about such things, you know. But it should also, this is generally one's communication and relationship with colleagues, with siblings, with relatives, with workmates, you know. So only if Mars is there, it can be kind of irritating. These people might be pressing on your toes. They might be a little bit more irritating you than normal, because Mars is an angry planet, so it can create problems in your relationships with siblings, with relatives, with neighbors, with co-mates, with workmates, with schoolmates. These are all people in your daily environment, and it's kind of, you know, if those problems arise, Mars is a problem solver as well, but it tends to be more problematic unless there are other easing influences there which can help. But also there might be, for example, the third house rules the younger brother or siblings. Like I have 2 younger siblings, but Mars is a planet of accidents or sudden, you know, it's, for example, it says in ancient astrology, Vedic, that Mars in the third house can cause death or premature death to the younger sibling. I have 2 siblings, one of them died 40 days old. But also it can indicate what, it's not for everyone 100%, but it can also describe what your younger sibling is. And the younger sibling can be very martial in nature, sporty, athletic, ambitious, driven, for example, athletic in physical appearance. And my younger brother is a footballer. He loves sports. He's extremely athletic in nature. And the other one passed away. So both of those things have manifested in some way. And as I said, dynamic relationship with all such kind of workmates, associates, business associates of any sort. Busy mind. The third house is the mind, so the thinking process can be very busy. You might be like going in bed and your mind is working way much more, like, well, your partner has fallen asleep, you're thinking into the early hours with your mind not able to switch off. This is the, you know, the tension of Mars. Kind of very busy in a narrative, hectic mind, frenetic mentality. Might be hard to calm down the mind a little bit. But as I said, this leads to very productive and progressive in the office, in business, highly energizing for any information career or any information task. That's why I'm a media person. That's why I do short daily videos. And usually the information that they provide doesn't last for long. Like I do weekly videos and stuff. It's put out there. It doesn't have lasting effect, but it's kind of impactful for the moment. The third house also, it describes our daily environment, you know, like the environment and the people that we're surrounded by on a daily basis, whether it's our workmates, our, you know, mates overall. So with Mars there, this environment can be highly competitive and driven. So it can spur you to even do more, to be even more progressive and more productive in business, more progressive and productive in the office as well, and more competitive. Mars in the third house is quite competitive and can usually give you the edge in competition as well. But especially in short-term competition, just like it's short-term travel, third house is short-term circumstances and competitions. They are better off rather than some long-term drive or competition or even sports or competitive situation. We spoke that sometimes the speech and the communication can be a bit aggressive and can interrupt others. If you've heard some of my videos, I get excited about something I want to say and I can interrupt others, and then I'm so sorry, because then I have Venus also in the third house, so I'm like apologetic and but speaks loudly, can be biting in words sometimes. You know, they can just say something to bite you. And something can get angry or shout sometimes if there are no soothing influences on that Mars. And yeah, you have to be careful, because those people, if you aggravate them with their words, they'll go after you. And they can be good, for example, for lawyers that are in commercial or business, because they go after you. And especially commercial activities, business activity lawyers, that's a great position for them. Active speakers, but because they're active speakers, they might be impatient in the role of listeners. So what happens is that, yeah, they can speak and shower you with information, and here it is, my information bulletin, this is what we're doing, and da-da-da-da, and this is what the plan is, and da-da-da-da, but they might feel antsy to listen to you. Even in my consultations, I'm the one who talks, and it's kind of gets impatient to listen to others. Not so, it short attention span towards listening, because Mars is expressive, outer forward planet, is masculine, and Mercury, and the third house is communications. Okay, so splendid position for delivering messages and information, for pursuing any kind of information vigorously. Such people will do it, it will excite them. For any kind of tabloid news, for short announcement, for handling news of the day. But just be careful for arguments with siblings, with neighbors, with co-mates, with teammates, more competitive behaviors with such relatives or people from your everyday environment. There is something else that I read from Barbara Pijan that was great about Mars in the third house, that because third house is marketing, so how you are as a manager, and Mars there can make you like a manager from hell, she says, which kind of, I've noticed in a few people, because they don't have patience for others, and because they push the pace of the daily, environment and the daily tasks as well, and they don't have patience for slugging teammates, co-mates, people that they're responsible for, and kind of they constantly raise the bar when it comes to commercial transactions, business work of any sort, and no patience to deal with unmotivated employees. That's directly taken from Barbara Pijan, great information. And third house is the house of self-made wealth. With Mars there, these people can make money by pushing themselves and by self-effort, because the third house is the second from second. So we always have to check, the second is money, how you make money. And the second from second has the similar energy, but it's more self-driven. With Mars in the third house, just like I showed you, Richard Branson and Mark Zuckerberg, self-made wealth, people that are driven in that. And because especially third house is any products, marketing, advertising, business transactions, business commercial activities, these people are so driven in that activity. That's why they usually become, they can have self-made wealth in some sort. And even self-employment, I would say, with Mars in the third house can be highly favored. I've seen very often. And because of prodigious of great business output, this daily activity that they're driven on a daily basis through communication, information, branding, marketing, managing, products, and moving from destination to destination, from place to place. This is what drives them and can bring this success. And let's see. Physical activities where Mars is focused, it's focused on travel, it's focused on business, it's focused on delivery of information, like in my case, on delivering of announcements. Scheduling, physical activities also focus on planning, scheduling, writing, which all might be a bit rushed, and speaking, the speed might be quite rushed. And as I said, it's best disposition for short-term, fast goal achievements. So something you have to complete today or this week, and you have to drive and you push. Promotes ideas vigorously, proactive advertising, can rise in high positions in sales, advertising, public relations, marketing. And sometimes third house is travel. Be careful for small accidents during travel. If your Mars is well placed, though, it's in a good sign without bad aspects, then you can be much more physically active and energized while traveling. So thank you so much, guys. That's Mars in the third house. Hopefully that was useful for you, and showed you where to be careful, how you can have success, what your big strengths are, what your weaknesses are. So thank you so much, and I will see you in a few weeks with Mars in the fourth house. And don't forget, check out all my courses. I have courses online at astrolada.com. I'm putting a link for my courses if you want to learn with me. This is just a very small sliver of information. I have so much more for you to give, for me to give you. So thank you.